Hey, Bunny Foster over here. I'm saying Bunny Foster because I didn't want to get hit by the algorithm. And today we're basically going to cover the graduation of Yuko Yorei, and it's quite frankly a graduation that we kind of saw coming to anybody that was paying attention or was roughly following along the memes. I mean, if you followed along the memes, you kind of knew what was happening, but right now I'm going to give you some context as to why things turned out this way. Yuko Yorei was a VTuber that was from Idol that got a shit ton of views and rapid growth during late to mid 2022. Hold on, we're going to look at it here. Yuko's growth, oh shit, Yuko's growth was, to oversimplifyingly summarize it, came from Idol's signature YouTube shorts and the smart placement of interesting SEO provoking metadata, and the fact that she's as traditional a VTuber as you can get. I mean, look at these fucking shorts views, bro. They're massive, basically. Yeah. She is, or rather was, exactly the type of VTuber that a lot of Idol fans want. Someone who was parasocial to her fan base, as the fan base were parasocial to her, or at least she played it up that way. Now, the whole parasociality discussion has been talked about in this industry for a long time, and it's been analyzed like a proctologist trying to analyze a colon. It's a discussion that has been beaten to death, basically, and most people pretty much come to the conclusion that it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a key part of this industry for better or worse, and that people need to get a reality check sometimes, which I wholeheartedly agree. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with VTubers doing GFE, but like, you know, I do poke fun of it sometimes. I don't actually mean it in a mean-spirited way though. It's just that there are extremes to the discussion that I think are absolutely hilarious. Now, why I'm talking about this is that, as you can see here, she's gonna graduate, right? And Yuko Yorei has pretty much been very well known for being GFE. Now, why I'm talking about this is that Yuko Yorei has pretty much been well known in the scene for this sort of content and character. A lot of unicorns flocked to Yuko, and in turn, she got super popular. She had a lot of whales, and generally was one of the more popular girls in Idol EN. Again, she's the biggest, second biggest in here. And in the small corpo VTubing community, she was really only second to Rin Penrose. That's the thing. Now, in December of 2023, Yuko Yorei had a 2-month long break from content creating, and we can see it over from here. In her stream over here, she stopped at December 28th, and her latest stream, she came back at February 20. So entire 2 months. And in her comeback stream, she she said a lot of things. She said she wanted to make different forms of content. She wanted to do vlogs, stuff like camping and touching grass sort of content. She said she got burnt out, which is something a lot of people don't realize has a really big impact on a content creator, by the way. And she said that she would remove a lot of members' content that doesn't fit into this attempt to rebrand. But she did not just take away members' content; she took away a lot of public content as well. Looking over on her playboard, we can see a lot of those streams. We saw a lot of the streams right here, another stream here, another stream here, another stream here, another stream over there, over there. Basically, wait, that's an archived December stream. Doesn't mind. But yeah, here we go. ASMR, shy, gentle kisses. Basically, a lot of content aside from her unarchived karaoke. Oh, another ASMR over there. Voice acting. Yeah, basically those sorts of shit. The kind of content that she thinks she doesn't want to get to represent her in her future. Yeah. She said she would make a different form of content, something that would, quote unquote, actually make her excited. You know, the sort of content that she wanted to do, something different from her GFE, which is fine. But then, again, she said that she would delete a lot of her old VODs and that was oriented in that category or content. And one might think that's a good idea, which theoretically it should be, because she doesn't want to misrepresent the new type of content that she wanted to do in the future by having people come in and see that her most popular and most engaged forms of content were like those. Also, she's stepping away from the niche that was GFE, something that would have pigeonholed her throughout her entire VTubing career in Idol. And, you know, in the long term, it would probably hinder her growth. get her into a lot of trouble regarding her unicorns and gachis. She will tank in the short term in this decision, but perhaps in the long term, it would actually be fruitful. Again, she was burnt out and she wanted to do a little New Year's resolution sort of thing. And while that's fun and dandy, she did all of this all of a sudden, instead of easing her fan base into it. And I do get it, honestly. Wanting to turn a new leaf, but as a content creator, you don't really want to do that. Not only would that make your established fan base, and especially if it's a fan base where you have a lot of unicorns upset, but it would derail you in the algorithm. When you want to make a change into how you want your content to be presented, easy and slow is how it normally goes. So when this happened, a lot of people were very upset, especially her unicorns. This was not the Yuko Yorei that they subscribed to, and because of that, they will leave. Not only leave, but like a fair few of those people actually went out and started bitching about her online, spreading all sorts of hate around her. Yeah. And, she doesn't deserve that, but it was gonna happen. And to add to that, it's been a while since her Donothon, and some of the goals were just unfinished. And while I do understand and will believe that she's trying her best to handle them all, having few progress to show for it uh, is going to leave a lot of people disappointed, to say the least. Yeah. It painted her in a bad light. Even if a lot of people were clowning on the unicorns about being betrayed, the sentiment that unicorns parrot actually does make a lot of sense. The sentiment that she would just abandon her old content that easily on a whim creates an impression of being untrustworthy, basically, especially if people actually paid money for that sort of content. Yes, it's all fine and dandy to want to rebrand, but doing it all of a sudden and deleting old content on top of that is disrespectful to her current audience and to, like, a lot of the whales that supported her. Regardless if the VTubers themselves like that sort of audience or not. At the end of the day, it's a slap to the face to the people that supported you. Of course, there are ways to go about this, execute this a lot better. But I don't think I'm in the position to tell Yuko or anyone in Idol or anyone for that matter how they should have done this. Because at the end of the day, they did what they could have, and they just perhaps failed to grasp the extent of the short term losses. So after her rebrand announcement was dropped, there was a considerable number of pushback, but her numbers were suffering, especially in the live stream and financial department. Even if her streams was largely the same sort of character that she had. The fact that the algorithm detected that a lot of her regulars failed to check in due to them abandoning her, the long break in streaming probably contributed a little bit. It basically spelled a lot of bad things happening over in Yuko. She got burnt out, so she didn't really make that much content anymore. And with the lack of whales, there were just no longer that much donos or memberships or tips or whatever. No longer that much support. But generally, it did not look good for Yuko. This was the conclusion that a lot of people arrived to. And I can't say because I don't know the exact nature of her graduation, the financial circumstances, and her actual numbers. Whether or not the leaving of the unicorns actually impacted her outcome that much, who knows really? Only that the narrative makes a lot of sense. Again, to a lot of people, the writing was on the wall. Whether or not she was going to brave through this rough patch of let's say stagnation was up for debate. And I say this with no disrespect towards her or Idol, but from my observation, even outside your average places like 4chan, the writing was on the wall, and it was a matter of time for most people. Now, of course, Yuko is set to graduate at the end of May, on her own wishes, by the way, meaning that she herself decided this, and this will be a huge blow to Idol. Again, considering that she was one of their most popular content creators, the second most popular content creator, basically. Yeah. And she's going to have a 5-day stream streak where she's going to have her final streams as Yuko Yorei. Some donothon goals will be done after her graduation. Now, again, I don't blame her or Idol for the rather short-sighted decisions. I've fallen victims to my decisions myself, and it happens to everyone basically. But I think this is a situation where it kinda has to be studied, honestly speaking. I think what's happening here will go down in EN VTubing history as a story as to how to not rebrand as an agency VTuber. Because again, most people, including myself, were in support of this decision to rebrand into a long-term, healthier kind of content creator in Idol. It's just that it didn't work out the way a lot of people, including herself, wanted it to go. I hope the best for her. Burnout is a bitch. Any content creator knows how that feels, and I hope she finds a better success as an indie, if she intends to actually become one officially, as is, Hopefully, everyone in Idol can weather this out as well, and yeah, that's really all about it. Bunny Fusser out.